will get drier, that the people living there will have to guard and look after those water resources very carefully. If the pressure on those water resources is increased suddenly by the arrival of new people coming in, we can see that there is a potential for conflict.
For me, the human security is not just preventing him dying to get him to survive. So it applies both in the war situations where we go and mediate to try and put people to live together and so on in harmony. Also, we have to get people to live together in harmony in production, in combating these natural calamities, and so on.
The way I understand human security is that it's freedom from want, freedom from fear, and freedom from hazard impact.
If we have human security compromised by the loss of those things, or any one of those things, such as water, then there's an immediate change in the status, the security status of an individual or a community or a country.
When harvests fail, farmers have no choice but to rely on remittances from their children who work in town, but nobody is able to send remittances anymore. Now what that means is that they become a case for the government to look after, and that is why we have seen the numbers for the United Nations World Food Programme soar.
If you extrapolate the security of the poorest and the most vulnerable up into society, this is what determines your national security status.
There is going to be a conflict because of water. There's no doubt about that.
Because you're evaporating more water because of your increased temperature, you are now leaving behind more salts, so you're slowly poisoning the land.
Agriculture is the backbone of the African economy. Agriculture is driven by farmers. There is no room for failure. We just have to create global, regional and national plans that will make sure that the 70% who depend on farming remain in farming.
I'm David Bandra. Sometimes in Adanka with Soto, where we started with my popo, sunflower, and you 21 David Roma. So, life never would life in Injury. Life ya new mina maningi.
Ale nibemende yangandu akala umuzwa singani kushabalala nebo ndira washirira mbe mudamba ndira washirira mapisi wega washirira uteka menda abantu ono menda mulane kabora jirobe tawitwa tebula yonse yangu yakaunka amenda alo manda wonse akadirika so twakulomba manda abantu akona njakatushupa kuja namuzi kuti tuboye kuno tuyotya ni toyanda oleja kuchita anyika yonse yakamana amana kula kubola muo munji masamu bakamana kukonka malasha so kwabola muo ingula ingala hula maningi manda mwi ala humbuka ala unkamu
Niko ali hula inzara yagaliwo niko ali hula inzara yagali mpati maningi yauti twaba yakujita orwa kujana maita nkonga wajana mali yauti ukarisha chakuli anganda
bannayuganda b'okuti banna bangu baikale kabotu baiye chikolo naanda jana kayonto jana kukhala chipaka choti ndikhale ndisunge bana baiye kutoka niwe bakatyani bakandirere kumpera amazuba.
Jangan yawo njendira bomewo yoti wobana kuteka bakala kabota tuzi ndiza nabandi pachito monya abenzuma aba kuti kwashira bana mbonyo bandimi.
Urbanisation is clearly a huge challenge. I mean, urban poverty is growing in southern Africa, and in Africa, 72% of the residents of African cities are living in slums.
As population will grow, it means more and more people will need to use water. And urbanization, in particular, is also creating a threat to some of their water usages.
Now, with the best planners in the world and with the best amount of money that you could have, there is no way you can keep track in providing water services with this flux of people who invade these cities on a day-to-day basis.
The availability of water and associated services such as waterborne sanitation in urban centres is already under strain because of the rate at which people are moving to urban centres and cities. As this rate starts to increase and more people come in, they find that they have to stay in places that are located further and further away from where services are available, which usually means an informal method of garbage disposal or sanitation, water taken from nearby springs, groundwater, hand-dug wells, boreholes. Often that water is contaminated because of poor waste disposal practices.
We have a real threat on us because when you cannot supply potable water to these people, when you cannot put proper sanitation services in place, one day or another, and it's already happening, cholera will follow suit, bilharzia will follow suit, yellow fever in DRC will follow, and all this because people are coming closer and closer.
In 2008, early 2009, we got a foretaste of what environmental refugees are going to look like. In this context, they came from Zimbabwe, and they came in their droves, and they were driven by health concerns, particularly cholera. One of the reasons why there was an outbreak of cholera is because the